3% of TP rate currently prevailing. And people or the institution who obtain the loan from central bank has to lend at least another couple of percentage higher than that. Then how the operations of the institutions who obtain the loan can survive with that higher rate of interest for a longer time? That's two main concerns with me for you to respond, sir. Though I have a few more points, I stop there.
It is not people are borrowing from the central bank. Our policy rate is 15.5%. That's the rate we are lending to commercial banks. We are banker to the bank. Commercial banks. We are not lending to anyone else. Central bank has no authority to lend any money only to the government and only to the commercial banks. We are banker to the banks or banker to the government. That's all. That's banker to the government in terms of maintaining deposits and accounts. But we are not lending banks. We are governments borrowing from the markets. If they want to borrow from the central bank to money printing, they also have to pay the same market price. So when you look at the interest rates, why interest rates are high now? Our policy rate is 15.5%, but market rates, as you correctly said, 33%. So think about how market lend to the people. That's lending not by central bank, by commercial banks, the banking system. Banks are lending not central bank money. So we only provide short-term liquidity for them to meet day-to-day liquidity. But they are basically engaged in lending to their deposits collected from the public. So this is an intermediary function banks are doing. When inflation is running at 60%, people's savings that they have deposited money in the banking system, if they are getting only 25%, which means in real terms, they are losing their money. Real value of money is lost. So what is the justification for a saver, innocent saver who has put their money in the bank and getting only 25% interest, and their value of money is eroding at 60%? This is on the long-term basis. Principle correct and not on the day-to-day basis is to maintain a positive real interest rates that would encourage people to save, so that the saved money can be lent to the poor businesses. So that's why if the banks are borrowing from depositors at 25%, how can they lend to a business in an environment of inflation at 5% or even low? They also have to maintain a margin, and they have to lend at a market rate.
Enjoy 1% merchant commission when you accept Lanka Pay cards. Contact these banks today.
The market is demanding more and more credit. They compete each other and say, okay, I am willing to pay 33% if you have money from the depositors. Then that's how people are borrowing. Borrowing is a choice of a borrower. They don't know to pay the price. You should not borrow that price. And also, especially given the inflation, this is the other part. One complaint what he mentioned is that because interest rates are 33%, we can't do business. Why interest rates are 33%? Because inflation is 60%, 70%. So why we raise interest rates? To control the inflation. Any business, cost of production, you should take cost of production is 100. I can say it empirical evidence and data. That's why data-driven approach is so important. Any kind of other than financial services, cost of finance or cost of interest is only less than 10%. All the other costs are labor, raw materials, imported costs, wages, and a lot of other transport, all the other things. Inflation is going up to 100%. The cost of production of 90% of your cost would be increased by 100%. So in that situation, if we let the businesses to borrow at 5%, if the 90% of their costs are rising at 100%, can they survive? What is most important is to curtail the cost of production for any business to run. To curtail the cost of production, curtail inflation. That's why if you listen to construction industry, they say inflation is only 70%, but the price of cement, steel, raw materials, building materials gone up by 300%. If you listen to say bakery industry, inflation which say consumer price is 70%. Cost of wheat, cost of labor, electricity, transport gone by 100%. That's why it's important to curtail inflation for anyone to do business. Forget about the interest costs. This is why it's important to curtail other cost of production, curtail inflation, then only people can do business. How the business can recover the cost? When the inflation is going up, obviously cost of production is rising, at the same time cost of output also will be rising. We look at simple restaurant or bakery business. Because cost of has gone up, they keep the margin and raising their food prices. That's why it's going up. So if we let the inflation run out, like in Zimbabwe or high inflation in 100%, there wouldn't be any business in this country. This is what important one you need to understand.